What's up, YouTube? I'm Malik and this is my girlfriend Leah.
And today we're going to be talking to you about some advice on how we moved in at 18 together. So to give you guys a little bit of backstory, how it all started is in about April of 2018. That was my senior year of high school, so towards the end of the year, and I moved in with my sister Isabel. At that point though, it was more so my sister's apartment, so she was paying the majority of the bills, but at one point I did start coming in and helping financially as well. But it wasn't about until August of 2019 that we actually got our first real apartment, me and my sister, and we were paying 50-50. And then it was around November, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
November, whenever me and Malik started getting closer, and then he kind of came into the picture, so I'll let him talk about that.
So yeah, November, me and Leah really started getting serious, started dating, and it was so cool because she had her own place. There were no parents around, so I'd always be at her house. We'd be chilling, watching movies and stuff. And it progressed to me staying days at a time at her house, bringing bags and shit like that. And after that, it turned to me bringing my clothes, taking a spot in her closet, all of that. And my mom was not very happy about that at all. And I understood, but like at the time, I was just like, I'm grown. I can do, if I wanted to move out, I can move out. And that's how I felt about it. So we had probably a little bit of beef from November all the way until she probably gave up in like February. Like real life, it was, what is that, 4 months? 4 months of her just being mad at me. I'd go over there and she'd tell me I need to come home just for no reason. Literally no reason besides the fact that she just didn't like it, which is fine, I understood.
Yeah, because like in that point too, like to keep in mind, we were kind of like still in that honeymoon phase for sure. So it was like, even though we understood like she didn't want us to be together all the time, it was just like you can't help it. Like we just wanted to. And it was summer at that time too, so we didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, wait, it was winter.
I thought it was summer.
November
when we
to
started
February?
Staying at your mom's.
November to February? That period of time?
Remember whenever... Oh, I thought Theo jumped up. Remember whenever we started staying at your mom's? I was like... Or was that just the weekend?
That would just be like the weekend and stuff. But that was still in that time. It wasn't... It's winter break.
Winter break?
Winter break is what you're thinking of.
Okay. Damn, I just fucked up.
No, it's all good.
Wait,
we
so
can honestly keep this in the video, to be honest. And if we don't,
okay,
we might cut it.
Clearly he knows the dates better than me.
A month later, I started paying rent, which was March. I paid $250 while Leah and Isabel paid $500 a month. And during that time, I didn't have any money saved. And that was probably one of the biggest things that I regret. And that's going to lead us into our first tip. All right, so tip number 1. Save your goddamn money, bruh. I'm so serious. I wish I could send this to myself 2 years ago. Save your money, because in life you're gonna run into situations where you're gonna have to pay a large amount, like a ticket or something. That's what happened to me. I started saving my money, and then I had got 2 tickets back to back, and basically just put me in a bad spot, all because I didn't have that much money saved. So saving money, once you move out, you want to make sure that you're comfortable enough to where you won't have to rely on anyone else. You won't have to go ask anyone else for money, because it just doesn't feel good. And I'm not the type of person who likes doing that. So just make sure you save your money, like for real.
Right, and like don't think that whenever we say like save our money, you don't have to have like a crazy amount of money in your savings, like 10,000, like nothing like that. It can literally be, if I had to recommend, I would say about 3K. Just something to know that you can pay your bills, but also if something does happen, like he said, that you can take care of that as well. So just whatever you think is the right amount for you. Of course, it's also based on where you're moving, but just be like really mindful. Just like always save your money, because you're gonna need it at some point. Okay, so for our second piece of advice, this is talking about how like you need to budget basically. So even though, let's just say that your rent was gonna be like $1,200. So even though you know that you're expected that certain piece of that rent, just keep in mind that you're gonna have things such as groceries, gas, emergencies that happen, and anything that you might like to spend things on, like if you want to go out to eat once a week. Just think about your budget and be mindful that you're not only paying the rent. There's many other things that you're paying for. So kind of going back to that first piece of advice, just make sure that you have money saved up and that you're just mindful of that.
And just putting this in there also, Like, you're also gonna have to pay your bills, water, electricity.
Mm.
Depending on where you stay, you might have to pay for trash valet, pest control, and all that other stuff. And it honestly adds up sometimes.
Yeah. But once you first start paying rent, I think you definitely get the swing of things, and then you're able to see and kind of eyeball what you need to have in your bank account for that month or by the end of the month so that you can pay rent and everything else.
All right, tip number 3. So if you have no credit at all, be prepared to pay 1 month's worth of rent or have someone co-sign for you. And if you're not confident anyone will co-sign for you, make sure you have that amount, whatever it is, saved and be willing to pay it. I ran into this problem when me and Leah first wanted to move into our own apartment, and I went and got a credit card. I tried to build my credit, but it was just taking too long. So if you want to go that route and go ahead and start building your credit when you're 18, just be smart about it. Don't go buy big things. Don't buy big items. Just pay for like gas, food sometimes, and make sure you just pay it on time. And eventually your credit will be built. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time, but just as long as you're doing it, it's going to help you in the long run.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't know how to like navigate how to get your credit up, and you just don't know how you can go about that, I think like for me, my mom was really helpful in the way that she honestly already had our credit, both me and my sister, just right. So that wasn't even a concern for me. I don't know the specifics, but I'm guessing that she basically kind of just gave us like, I don't know, like lines of credit kind of thing. Like she applied it onto hers as well.
Yeah.
Basically what I'm saying is that if you have any questions about it, definitely like go to a parent and ask them if they can help you, or even if they can just teach you ways that you can go about increasing your credit on your own. So it's a big thing, credit, because it can come with apartments or a car, anything. So it's definitely something that you should try to work on getting as good as possible. Okay, so the 4th little piece of advice that we're going to give you is that I think a lot of times, especially when it's your first time moving out, you think you're going to move into your first new apartment and then it's going to be like fully furnished with everything that you want and just going to look like your perfect apartment. But sorry to break it to you, that's just not realistic, because whenever you do start managing your own finances when it comes to your apartment, you're going to realize how expensive things are. So what I would recommend for this is like even now in our apartment, and this is our 3rd one now for me anyways, it's not perfect. Just go on websites like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever it's called, just things like that where you can get cheaper deals, and they might not be new, but honestly who cares, because if you can get a nice piece of furniture on a budget, I feel like that's perfect. So you don't need to go to like IKEA or go somewhere crazy. Just see where you can find deals and then furnish your apartment then.
Alright, tip number 5 is you need a proof of income when applying for an apartment. This is just a disclaimer that we do live in Dallas, Texas, so it might not be the same everywhere, but as of right now, you have to have 3 times rent in most places. Show that you make 3 times the rent, basically.
But it can be combined, so if you're living with just more than you, like it can be your combined income, not just individually, just to note that.
Yeah, so say your rent would be $1,000. If you're moving in with someone, y'all both have to prove that y'all could make $3,000 in 1 month. So you would have to either make $1,500, or y'all both would make $1,500, or however that would be split up, who makes what. But that's just how it works.
So just be prepared for that.
Yeah, be prepared for that. You can't just walk into an apartment complex and just be like, I have $10,000, I want an apartment. It doesn't work like that.
So for anyone that's not doing like a real job, just to like note that yeah, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's about the fact that you can actually prove that you have like a job. So yeah.
A real job. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Y'all got something, let me know though. Just a disclaimer, yes, we fucked up after tip number 5, I know. So tip number 7 is be prepared for the application and administration fee. So your application fee is just going to be, it's just what you have to pay when you're submitting an application to an apartment. And the administration fee is the fee that you pay where they take that specific apartment that you want off of the market so that no one else can apply for it and get it. And also, when you get an apartment, you're gonna have to put down a security deposit just in case it's damaged when you leave or something's messed up when you leave and you just don't tell them.
And And those are usually refundable if you don't damage anything, just to keep in mind. So definitely, of course, try to take care of your apartment and make sure that doesn't happen so that you can get that money back in the end, because it's really nice.
The application and administrative fee both are non-refundable though. You will not get that money back.
Right.
It's gone. They took it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Okay, so now this is advice number 8. So this is really short and sweet, but just so you know, of course rent is expected to be paid on the 1st, but if you ever are in a situation where you don't have that money by then, just know that at least for us, there is a little grace period of 2 days, so we can actually pay it by the 3rd. So yeah, just in case that's helpful to anyone, you can't pay it on time, just know that it might be dependent on wherever you're staying, but definitely ask about that in case you ever are in that situation.
Tip number 9. Before you're able to get the keys for your new apartment, you must have renter's insurance. We currently have renter's insurance through USAA. It's about $30 a month, and it's there just in case your apartment catches on fire and you lose valuable things. And it's just a safety net, really, if anything happens. And that's it for tip number 9.
Okay, and lastly, to wrap it up, for our 10th little piece of advice, again, this is really up to you and whatever you prefer to do, but for us, I know at our apartment complex, it can be really tough to park sometimes.
Really tough is actually an understatement. It's a bitch.
Oh yeah, that's true. So if you don't want to have to deal with having to go find spots, definitely recommend just buying your own garage. I don't know exactly how much they are here.
They're like $60.
Yeah, around 60.
Month.
Exactly. So of course it's going to cost more money, but it may be worth it. But I would kind of just figure out, maybe ask around and see like how hard the parking is before you do invest your money in it, because if you don't have to do it, then why spend the money? But again, just definitely something to look into. But I think that's all for our advice on how you can move out, and hopefully this is helpful to you guys.
Yeah, that's it. I ain't got nothing to say. This is the first video we here.
Exactly, yes. Show your support. Like, comment, subscribe. But before we go, I just want to say that I know this might seem a little Debbie Downer and just like a lot to take in, but just know that moving out is amazing. You have your independence and you just get to do your own thing. So if you're thinking about it, we definitely recommend it. But yes, show us some love and support us, and be back for video 2.
We out.
Bye.
That was good, baby. I'm glad you finished that.
Me too.